Welcome back everyone to another live stream repair. We've of course got a couple of HomePods that need fixed. We'll start off with Eve's that's got the DC offset, or as people more familiarly name it, death farts. Let's shoot a quick email to Eve so they can watch and we'll get started. Let's see how bad it is. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Hopefully that bass speaker is still in good shape. DC voltage, which is what happens when the filters on the amplifier go bad and lets too much of that DC voltage through. What'll happen is it'll cook that subwoofer speaker, because a normal AC analog audio signal is moving the woofer back and forth and keeping it cool passively by doing that, whereas with DC voltage it moves the subwoofer in one direction and holds it there. So you've got limited performance. Everything is working harder. To produce a worse result too. Things overheat and things have a meltdown. Now, we don't have a consistent time that we stream. Unfortunately, it's kind of just whenever I find the time. Between the day job and helping with our kid. It's quite the juggling act. Yes. That subwoofer appears to be in fine shape. No problems keeping that one. How many HomePod speakers do I have in a stereo pair? Well, I prefer stereo pair. I make an effort to put an adjacent HomePod wherever I've got one too, just to have it stereo paired and make them sound a little wider. I guess the easier answer to that question is I've only got one HomePod in my entire house that isn't stereo paired, and that's the one that's in the very center of my office room here. And that's I just have one in the middle of my room to add, just to fill the room in a little more. I've got two in the front here, two in the middle, two in the back, and then the one in the center of the room. And then my living room has a couple spread throughout too, but they are all stereo paired. Yeah, that's why I don't like to use this screwdriver on the amp very much. The magnet in it is a little weak, and it's a tight fit. Do I use any as home theater speakers with my Apple TV? Nope, I do not actually. Well, okay. I do, if I'm watching things, I do. I usually play to all the HomePods and the Sing cells in the house, so that way if I get up and leave while I'm watching a movie, I can still listen to it. But that's more for just, like being able to hear the movie if I walk away. That's whenever I'm like listening to music and I like really want a focused listening experience, I'll usually only play to the 3 Sing cells in the living room. Sometimes I'll add the HomePods to it, but I don't have a default sound output set for the Apple TV. I just have it connecting to the Sing cells usually, and then maybe I'll throw the HomePods in there on occasion. Because sometimes it is a little overstimulating to have music blasting throughout the whole house and there's nowhere you can go to just you know what I mean? Yeah, I've got three of them that work and one with software issues. And I only paid for one of them. I only paid retail for one of them. I bought all the other ones used or broken. God awful expensive. But if you can snag one for a good deal, and, you know, you're willing to accept the risks that it could break itself or have a hardware issue that you can't fix, and then it's just kind of a paperweight at that point, then yeah, great speakers. Their support really knows how to drop the ball. And I mean, they confirm with me that certain ones have a hardware or a software issue and they won't give me any fix for it. Like, what the heck? It's like, on a case-by-case basis, we'll replace these for customers. On a case-by-case basis, you will reflash the software for a freaking $3,000 speaker for your customers. How nice of you. One of mine had blown a tweeter a few months ago, and it took over a month and a lot of nagging them over email and Twitter to get the freaking thing replaced. And then when I sent it in, it took them like a few weeks to send the replacement back after they said, we'll send a replacement as soon as blah, blah, whatever. It's unfortunate. Like, if they could just take a few simple, easy steps, just make a few small free changes. These are free changes. You allow end users to restore the software, and you open up the sale of parts and share repair manuals. And I mean, they'll be perfect. There would be no reason for me not to recommend these things, pretty much no matter what they want to ask for price-wise. But for the price they're asking, the flaws and the problems and the way that they run things is just completely unacceptable. It sucks, because it's such a good speaker when it works. I actually ditched. I haven't used my 7.2 home theater surround system ever since I got those Sing cells. It's been about a year or so now, I think. I mean, my home theater setup was no slouch. I had 6 floor standing speakers, a big center channel, a Yamaha Avantage amplifier, 2 like 12-inch floor standing powered subwoofers, but the way those Sing cells sound, man, it's good. It's good. Rumor has it that Sing's going bankrupt too. Frankly, I can't be surprised. Like I said, with how they run things, it just isn't sustainable. You charge too much for too many flaws. It would have been much more understandable at their, original launch price of $1,800, but then for whatever reason they decided to tack practically an extra grand on that. Still no Android support. they are more than sufficient bass-wise. That is an understatement. The kind of bass that you hear from these things is not quite like anything you've heard before, because they've got the two force-opposing active subwoofers. It's not a single subwoofer and a passive radiator, or just a single subwoofer and a sealed enclosure or anything. They have two active subwoofers. And then the tweeters are mounted in the middle of them. So all of the sound comes from essentially a single source, a single point in space. And then with the opposing subwoofers, it just creates such a wildly tight bass response. I would compare it to like comparing the Taptic engine on an iPhone to an old style rotary vibrator. It's like the old school style rotary vibrator was it felt kind of sloppy, it wasn't very precise. But that Taptic engine, in that precise control it has, it can literally do one single actuation if it wants to, and it's that solid snap back and forth. And it's the same with these sync cells. The way this subwoofers move, it's just so clean and tight and precise and controlled that you haven't heard or felt bass quite like it. And then the layering of the audio in the, like, you can pretty much feel the physical layers in the air. It's really cool. That's why I liked HomePod so much, and that's why I like the SingCell so much, is it's not just a classic stereo speaker. They throw a little bit of magic in there to give it more atmosphere, more of a spatial feeling to it. And they do a damn good job of it. Still haven't had a chance to listen to a DeviLA yet, though. Technically, I've got that Huawei Sound X, which was co-developed with DeviLA, so think what you will about that. It's impressive, I won't lie. But it's not, it doesn't touch a SingCell. It's not the same thing. The DeviLA Phantom is what I need to hear. No, of course not. But at the same time, DeviLA doesn't currently have a product that would even compete with what they were aiming for with the Huawei Sound X. So it's reasonable to, or at least I should say, there's a good chance that they did put some, legitimately good effort and hardware inside of the thing. It sounds pretty good. But still, not a Phantom. And I mean, you look at the size of the thing, you shouldn't expect that it would even come close to a Cell or a Phantom, though. It does sound bigger than a HomePod, but it is physically bigger than a HomePod, so it should. What is up, Joseph? Lurk in the neighborhood? Now you gotta lurk my stream. Welcome back. It's getting chilly where I am. Perfect morning walk weather. But I would assume you're probably East Coast. We haven't even hit high noon here yet. I do believe that, well, if I never had a chance to listen to them both, and I only had the specs on paper and my personal experience so far, I would wager a bet that the SingCell does in fact sound better than a Devialet Phantom. Simply because the tech that it was developed with is a lot newer. They've got much more efficient hardware in there, from my understanding. They used a very new like gallium nitrate power delivery to get more power in a smaller space. And I believe the Devialets did not have that technology, so they are less efficient. So they'll crank out less power. Raw power that you're pulling from the wall doesn't necessarily translate into how good a speaker's going to sound or how loud it's going to sound. So just because a Devialet says it'll pull 1500 watts from the wall, for example, and the SingCell only pulls 500 watts, doesn't mean that the SingCell is going to sound that much quieter or that much worse. But that's my assumption with the Devialets, at least. Maybe they did use maybe they do have similar technology in theirs, and it's pretty much identical, and maybe the Devialet absolutely slaps the Sings. That is a lot better.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Alright, no more significant popping when we turn it on or off now. That is fixed. We will now move on to jack. Jack's got two HomePods here. Let's see which one we pick first. One of them's got no power, one of them's got blinking volume buttons. Which one is it? This one's the no power one. Alright. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at the other one. That's got the blinking volume buttons. And we'll see if that takes a software restore. If it does, since the restore process takes a few minutes, we'll kick off that restore process and let it run in the background while we knock out their no power repair. Let's see here. This one should turn on. Yep. And it should give us a blinking volume buttons in about a minute. I actually plugged in my dedicated floor standing subwoofer speaker recently, hooked it up to an Airport Express V2 so that I could just remember what it was like, what it used to be like. and I cranked that sucker up all the way. And I mean, no doubt, a dedicated floor standing subwoofer speaker gets louder if it's a good enough one than a sing cell, and I'm sure than a WLA Phantom too. But it wasn't as clean. It was kind of dirty and gross and muddy, and it used to sound just fine to me, and then I got used to the sing cells, and now I'm spoiled. I can't stand it. The only reason I like to turn it on now is just for the funsies, just for the haha, the whole house is shaking. Not that the sing cells can't do that on their own, but the way that their bass works, it's kind of weird. It's louder, but it produces less vibrations at the same volume than a typical floor standing or a standalone subwoofer. Again, quite an interesting sound that they produce. Not sure if anybody else has quite gotten it the same way. Let's get this bass off. Bass! Let us protect our top with the case from our fancy dandy table dock. Speaking of which, let's grab one of those and get that connected. Ah, we're facing the wrong way. There we go. Let's get a couple of screws in that. Okay. Let's get our Mac out and up on the screen for you fine folks. Oops. There we go. Right? Yes. Okay. We'll get our USB plugged in. We'll get our power plugged in. We're going to run Gaster Pwn. We're going to run Gaster Reset. We're going to run iDevice Restore. And we're going to see what happens. Fingers crossed. Waiting for NAND. Come on. Nope. Storage device did not become available. So we have got a hardware issue on that logic board. All right. Here's what we will do. Here's what we will do. Let's get that logic board out and see if we can't reball it. Let me get our dock off first. How's the bass on the first gen to the second gen? It does seem a little more improved, a little deeper, a little more powerful, a little more controlled. But nothing worth upgrading over, in my opinion, at least. All right. Let's turn that down. We don't need 475 on that thing. There we go. And we'll take our time getting this one off. I don't want to kill another one. Sorry, you guys pretty much can't see what I'm doing, but I gotta hit it at the right angle to actually get the thing off. I don't feel good about this one. No. No, siree, I don't feel good about that one. Come on out. Yeah. Same pad. Same pad we lost. Same exact one. Damn it. Alright, let's try to fix something. It would be really nice if Apple didn't hardware lock their parts, so you could simply replace the thing that broke instead of having to replace the whole thing. But that's the world they want us to live in, isn't it? Replace it, don't repair it. Well, I do have spare logic boards, so we'll give Jack the option of paying the usual rate to get the other one fixed, or they can give us that one for parts and we'll give this one a repair for free for them. We'll give them some options. You know, if we were desperate enough, I'm sure we could replace that pad on the chip well enough to at least dump the data off of it, and then we could restore that onto a new chip possibly, but at the moment in time, I've got more working logic boards than the effort for that would be worth. Yeah, I haven't seen any major common, like super common issues with the second gens yet. Especially in comparison to like the first gens. So far they seem rock solid. I will say there have been an increasing number of reports of ghost touches, phantom touches, and the display not responding to touch when you do press it. Similar to the second gen that you saw us try to fix in here a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, it's a straight up faulty touch board. Like the ribbon connector that interconnects it to the logic board seems to wear and tear and no longer make full contact, so it starts to act up. And it's the same thing with the minis is what I was getting at, is I've been seeing more and more reports of the minis having the same problem. And the minis are very similarly constructed to the second gens. The first gen is pretty much its own hardware as far as like the way that they input touch and all the hardware layout. It's very, very much standalone, unrelated to anything else that they've made, but the second gen is very similar to the Mini in the sense that it's got that separate touch board that's by itself, and then it plugs into the logic board display combo. And that's my concern is, well, now that we've had one of the second gens in for touch issues, and we've seen so many people with Minis reporting touch issues, that might be the common issue that creeps up over time on second gens. And the only real fix for it is to replace the touch panel, and there's no source for them. Here we are again. Make sure we didn't lose our gaskets for those screws. Yeah, and in the end, I was not able to permanently fix that second gen that showed up with touch issues. We got close a couple of times, close enough that I thought we did fix it. But ultimately, it kept coming back to the same issue where it would either interpret ghost touches or it would have this, it would have a bit of a dead spot where it wouldn't sense anything, but work fine throughout the rest of the pad. And I went back and forth at least a few dozen times between my parts and their parts, and I absolutely, without a doubt, certainly confirmed it is that touch panel that has issues. Not a software issue, not a logic board / display issue, not an amp or a power supply issue, purely that display board has something funky going on with it, or that touch board. And I will be bothered at night, restless, until we can find a way to really fix that one. What's going on here? There we go. Those amp boards really suck the heat out of your iron. I have to have mine turned up all the way or those pads get real cold real fast. If we have time, we'll try to reball another logic board. What is up with this stuff today? Like, doesn't want to play along. There we go. Serves me right for trying to be fancy with 4 at a time, though, huh? Alright, let's get that dead diode out of the way. For 8K, of course. Yeah, subwoofers are identical, they just use a slightly different yeah, the physical subwoofer's identical. Same voice coil, same foam surround, same power output, same everything. It's powered by a stronger amplifier, and they use a better subwoofer gasket. You know what I am curious about? The difference in impedance of the tweeters. And you know what I happen to have right here? Tweeters from a 2nd gen. And tweeters from a 1st gen. So the 1st gen's tweeter hits us at 4 ohms on the dot. 4 ohms on the 1st gen tweeter. The 2nd gen's going to be a little trickier here. Oh. We've got a 10 and a half ohms? No, 10 ohms. We got a 10 ohm tweeter on the 2nd gen. 4 ohm 1st gen, 10 ohm 2nd gen. Making a mess. He's making a mess. Yeah, quite the difference. Power that you pull from the wall does not necessarily translate to power that the speaker is outputting, too, keep in mind. You've got inefficiencies in the power supply and the amplifier to think about, too. This is the only part that is shared between first and second gen HomePod. Not one single other screw or gasket, speaker, amplifier, power supply, what have you. Nothing is compatible between first and second gen except for this gasket. Is exactly the same. Who'd have thought? Who'd have guessed? If you'd have guessed, go get a lottery ticket. Welcome to the chat. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. One truly never knows if it'll be your HomePod's last update before it's gotta go to Nick's Fix. I don't like playing on people's fear for their money. I wouldn't like to market myself like that. Because that just kind of makes it sound like, oh, you better send your HomePod to me before it has a problem. I ain't like that. I'm actually more like, don't spend any money on it until it does give you a problem. Don't worry about it. Like, what's the point in worrying about it and trying to prevent all these issues if it could, you could wake up the next morning and it'll break itself without you even doing anything. Just enjoy what you got. Enjoy what you got while you got it and while it works. Try not to worry about things. Tell me something. She's not going to say nothing. Am I going to have to reset?
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
There we go.
For more info.
I was going to say, don't make me reset you. Alright.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Folks, that is about all the time I've got for here and now. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I will catch you in the next one.